Music matters. Dogwater, the band, the experience. What's up?
Hey, how's it going?
Hello.
How you guys doing?
Good, man. It's good to be back.
Yeah.
It's hot here.
Thank you for doing this for the very first time. There wasn't another time, I promise. No one lost footage. It didn't happen.
Exactly.
Yeah. You said you wanted to open some cookies, Nick, with some ASMR as an intro?
Yep.
Beautiful.
Could I get some assistance?
Am I opening the cookies?
Yeah, I'm in.
Okay, all right.
I also just want to point out how you have a yerb here that I didn't provide, and that hasn't happened in a long time.
Hey guys, welcome back.
This is crazy.
Should we get a double mic? No. Okay. Ready? I don't know if that was a...
Was that?
Let's do a little cookie break, maybe.
Without you guys having the headphones on, this is so much easier for you.
Yeah.
Okay, ready?
Oh,
Was that good?
that was kind of sick.
Okay, cool. All right, word. Who wants
Wait,
a cookie?
Wait, break it again?
Bro.
Oh,
Yeah?
that's kind of
Okay,
nice.
word,
Yeah,
word,
that's
word,
kind of
word.
sick. What are those? Candy blasts?
Well, we can't plug it, but
Oh, yeah, they didn't sponsor us.
yeah, they didn't sponsor.
This is the
Oh, man, I'll
second
take one.
podcast in a row someone's brought a cookie of sorts.
Cool.
Last time it was mochi. Is mochi a cookie?
Whoa,
Not
dude.
really, huh?
Whoa.
Look a kind.
During AAPI month? That's crazy.
No.
Yeah,
we
the
actually
haha,
don't have
that's
to
a
respect
joke.
Asian people for the rest of this podcast.
What is mochi like? Well, I guess it's kind of its own thing, huh?
It's like a type of flour.
Yeah.
It's a flour?
It's a
Yeah.
type. No, like flour, like wheat flour.
Gotcha.
It's a rice
Mochi's
flour.
made out of rice.
Yeah, a rice flour.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
I had never, until that last podcast, I'd only had mochi frozen. And I'd
like
only
ice
had...
ice cream.
Mhm,
Yeah, that
yeah.
shit slaps.
Yeah, but I think I'd only had like the Whole Foods ones.
Oh,
Those are good.
Little Moon.
Yeah,
Little Moon. Yeah,
tough.
yeah. You already know.
So fire, so good. Why are you guys in LA? What brings you down here? Because it's also been a long time, I think, since I've interviewed a Bay Area band. So this is very exciting. But why'd you take the trek? What's new since last time we talked?
We came for sunshine. We came for happiness, soul rejuvenation, which is actually pretty funny because I grew up in the area and I always constantly complain about weather in SF. And every time I leave SF, it gets really hot. We come down here, 4th of July, pretty gloomy in the morning by the beach. And it was super hot and sunny in SF. So, I think that's just a little lesson to be learned about. Grass is always greener.
Can't have shit in the city, man.
Can't have shit.
So you're from down here originally?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, sick. When did you move up?
I moved up to the Bay in like 2021, end of 2021. So
Why?
I've been there for like 3 years. I was born in LA area, went to school at USC, and then I was like, I don't want to do this anymore.
Yeah.
But leaving California seemed an unrealistic, thing to do as a Californian in my little bubble. So SF was the next viable option.
Yeah, I feel that.
Yeah.
It's always so weird whenever I leave the state and realize how much of an actual bubble California is. I mean, let alone the Bay Area or LA even. Like, it's so strange to me that like half of California is just like incredibly rural. There's
Yeah.
nothing. Like, you almost never think about that. It's so weird.
For sure.
But it's do you think like growing up in LA and then like coming here like for something music related or something, does it feel different?
I guess what do you mean by that exactly?
Like
Sorry.
like growing up, were you around like local music in LA?
Yeah, I think where I grew up, there was a lot of people in the entertainment industry where I grew up, and I think it makes us very, very jaded, very like anti whatever. And I think like I grew up in like what's called the South Bay of LA, so it's a bunch of white people. It's a beach city. It's Hermosa Beach, Manhattan Beach, and there's actually like historically a really good punk scene there that came out of Hermosa, like Black Flags from Hermosa, Pennywise, some good reggae rock bands, Tomorrow's Bad Seed, and like a lot of the kind of music vibe from that time and just like the culture of beach cities in LA in general used to be pretty like anti-establishment, anti-capitalist, and just the culture of those cities has all been really like Beverly Hillsified, and like the people are definitely not of that vibe anymore. And so I don't know. I think when I was growing up, I was definitely in that transitional period away from more of like an actual beach town into something more like LA, Hollywood, plastic. And so I definitely grew up pretty jaded, pretty like there were a couple like industry plants in my high school like that were like had deals at like Interscope Records and shit like that.
Yeah, that's got to be so weird coming from like, because I'm sure that at a certain point too that feels so normal. Like when you're growing up around it, like to me the Bay Area feels so normal. Coming down here it was so strange, and even like that like weird like pseudo celebrity culture is something that like you don't think about after a certain period of time, but it's like to somebody in the Midwest that would probably sound so crazy. Yeah, like I saw Jaden Smith at the beach last week. just there like and I feel like if you explain that to somebody in like rural North Dakota or something, that'd be so vastly different.
Yeah, no, I mean, out of high school, I went to school in Nashville for a couple of years before coming back and going to USC, and I was like really naive, and I just thought like, oh, LA's so plastic, I'm gonna go pursue like folk music in Nashville, and everyone's gonna be so much more down to earth, and it's Nashville's also just like another thing. Nashville's just like LA, but in the Bible Belt, and so it was like not the move at all. But that was also a big like, still very different. Still like very much I'm a coastal elite sort of vibe, you know? Yeah.
That's interesting. The culture in Nashville felt so similar. I wouldn't think that at all. Like I've heard like a lot of mixed opinions on Nashville and just stuff like that.
It's
very
like
different.
same but different. It's like rap differently, but it's like the same like everyone wants to be a star sort of vibe. Not everyone. There are a lot of like really down to earth people in LA and Nashville. Like I don't mean to say it like that, but I think I went to Nashville being like, oh, these people are generally going to be more down to earth, and it just like wasn't really what I found. I feel like
and I also feel like the scene in Nashville, at least from what I understand, is like evolving. I feel like it used to be like correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like it used to be just like strictly a country oriented, and now I feel like there is more of like a cool alternative folk angle that's coming out of Nashville for sure.
Yeah, 100%.
And I feel like for the first time, honestly, here and like in the Bay Area, a lot of that shit is coming up too.
Yeah.
How did SF kind of differ from down here when you moved up there? Like, because you moved in 2021, you said?
Yeah.
That's a weird time to move to SF.
I think SF, what I find, so like LA's so fucking big that there's like little pockets of a bunch of different worlds that I think kind of like exist in parallel of one another but maybe don't overlap. But I think in SF what I find really cool is it's pretty geographically small, so like the music scenes in the Bay Area are much more interconnected than they are in LA, where it's like LA you might have like your pop kid scene and it's like a bunch of kids like trying to get like blue check marks and like social climb and shit like that, but like SF feels like they actually care about it's like music forward, I guess, if that makes sense. It's like it's a little bit more, hey, we're doing this because we love it and we enjoy it, versus here it's like a lot of transplants, a lot of people who you know, come here to just like be stars, and like I can't blame anyone for that pursuit. Like obviously like that has its plus sides, but I think just like in general, Bay Area for me just seems a lot more inherently like supportive, like in a more genuine way, where people are like, I'm an artist and I want to help out other artists in a way that exists in LA, but like the stereotypes of LA, you know, everyone kind of using everyone, like that comes from somewhere, you know?
It's not like entirely unreal.
Yeah.
And you guys are both from the city, right? Or like adjacent?
I'm from the city. I'm from the Bay. Shouts out Concord.
I'm gonna tilt your thing again.
Oh, sorry.
You're good.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm from like.
You're from Concord?
Yeah, I'm from Concord.
Have we talked about this?
Yeah, we've talked about this.
Okay.
Fake friend.
It may have been lost, possibly.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Where'd you go to high school?
I went to Concord High.
Oh, what the hell? Okay.
Yeah. But Sumi's not from here. Sumi.
I'm also a transplant to the Bay. I also moved in 2021, and I moved. Well, I grew up in Hong Kong, and then I was in like on the East Coast. So I'm one of those people who came to California, and like, yeah, California people are really like lovingly, y'all love California. Like, y'all won't shut up about California.
It's
And
the
like,
best,
Tell
baby.
it true though.
yeah, like you guys won't leave, and I like it. It's cool. It's like probably the best state I've lived in. But it was kind of crazy to be like, damn, people really fuck with California here. Like, all right, word.
I didn't
word.
quite even realize that until I moved here because
Yeah.
all my friends who I've met here make fun of me because I talk about the Bay Area so much. Like, it's literally like a meme. Like, they're always like,
No,
oh, like,
dead
did you know
ass.
Dante's from the Bay? Like, they always say that.
Yeah.
And, like, I honestly, but you're right, though. I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
I don't know why. Why do you think that is? Like, I don't know. Like, I have hella pride in, like, being from the Bay Area, and I don't even really know why.
I mean, like, I
just
think,
love it. I don't know.
Yeah, no. I mean,
Yeah.
I personally think that I love California because there's so many different kinds of like microclimates and ecosystems that are
Yeah.
here. Like, there's the desert, there's the beach, there's the mountains, there's snow, there's desert, there's everything in between. I think it's cool. I mean, like, the only thing you're missing is island vibes, but like,
Island
can't really-
vibes.
Yeah, island vibes.
Drake
you know?
vibes.
God, I hope not Drake vibes.
Combination.
No, you're safe. Remember how you were talking about how much you love Drake and how corny all of Kendrick's stuff was?
I'm a
Yeah.
certified Drake hater.
Sure.
And I've been one
Sure, okay.
since day
Yeah.
one.
Kendrick's a
Sure,
cornball.
yeah.
Kendrick's a cornball. He's
Yeah.
made no good albums.
Uh-huh.
Not a single good one.
Yeah.
I feel like there's also this part of the Bay. I don't know what it is because I don't think LA is the same way because I think you're right. LA is so much bigger, but the Bay, I think you're very right. Like, it has these such diverse and like such specific microclimates to where like it feels totally different to be from the East Bay versus being from the city. Like, it's you're from two entirely different places, and like they have different cultures, but they also have like a shared connection of just being. I don't know, being from the Bay. It's interesting. I think. That's what I always said about the city as well. I think when people ask me about like my opinion on San Francisco, I just think it's incredible that you literally can like start your day on the beach and then like go to the financial district and like go to North Beach and then like go to Oakland and go to the Redwoods and like do like you literally can do everything in one day. And I don't know if that's I always say that it's only in the Bay Area, but I could be wrong about that. But I always feel like it's only in the Bay Area.
I mean,
I think with how quickly you can go between them, yeah, I think it's like Bay Area specific. Like,
Yeah.
SF is a pretty sick city as a result of that.
yeah. I mean, like LA or like San Diego, like you got
Yeah.
like the city there, you got the beach, and then like you could go to like Big Bear.
I guess so. Yeah.
Yeah. Go to like Joshua Tree and stuff. Like,
Yeah.
There's just so many cool different places that you could go.
I think the California supremacy really comes from climate supremacy.
Yeah,
Like, it's
definitely.
like the sunny weather, the proximity to like all these different natural things. That's the main thing when I like hear people from California talk about California. It's like, oh, you have everything you could ever want in California, so why would you leave?
Exactly.
And I was like,
That's right.
all right, guys, like let's wrap it up. Let's give it a break. But I'm here, so obviously it kind of worked on me.
What brought you
Kinda
here?
hard to refute that.
What brought you here originally?
I graduated from college and I was like not really sure what I wanted to do. I was working like an internship, which was cool, but I was like, damn, do I really just want to like work? Damn, wait, this is not setting up the story well. So I was gonna either like woof around for a bit and just like figure out what I wanted to do, or I visited SF, and I like came here a lot when I was a kid because we had a family friend who was like lived in SF when we were really close to. But I visited like my sophomore year of college and was like, oh, SF is a sick city, so it just became my kind of dream city. And then I was deciding, yeah, whether to work or to woof, and I just like applied to a
woof.
part-time internship in SF, and I was like, if I get it, like I'll move, like it's a sign. If I don't get it, I'll just like go farm somewhere. And then I got it, and I just sent it. Like it was like
Yeah.
a part-time, really badly paid internship in Oakland, and it just worked out really, really well. So it was very much an impulse decision.
What were the first things you like realized the differences when you first moved? That was also such a weird time to move to SF, I guess. Because like
Yeah.
I don't know, but I suppose the media has always been like "fuck San Francisco," but like even more so, I think post-COVID than ever.
Yeah, for sure. I think the main thing that was different to me was not different. It was very similar to where I went to university, which was Hopkins, like Johns Hopkins, because Johns Hopkins is extremely nerdy and very like code and like intellectual supremacy coded. So when I came to SF and everybody wouldn't shut up about their apps or like their coding job or like, and you know, like, yeah, that's great. But I was like, oh my God, we're back. Like nobody respects art. Like I'm going to have to like justify my job and my passions like all over again. And it was definitely like that for the first like 6 months to a year where I was like trying to find people who like understood my passions or like understood the values. And I feel like culturally at a surface level when you get to the Bay, it can be very much like tech centric.
Yeah.
And then you dig deeper and you're like, okay, here's like more of the things that I resonated with. So that's kind of what was like interesting to me, was I didn't realize how pervasive the culture would be around tech.
Isn't it weird that like you and me at least will never have like an objective view of the Bay Area? Like we'll never have like an honest objective view of the Bay Area because we grew up there.
Yeah, like it'll always be home for me. So,
Yeah.
I mean,
But I'm not on an honest objective view either. Like I just came in and like experienced it as I did, you know? Like
as
that's
a
not like
transplant, I feel kind of similar to like.
But
I
I
feel
think
like I
it's-
would never have an objective view. Of the
yeah,
Bay
if anybody,
Area.
you guys would have the
Yeah.
But the thing is, like, I feel like for the first 18 years of my life, I didn't know anything else. So there's literally zero comparison. So it's like, because I have nothing else to compare it to, it felt like the only way, like
But
the
I-
only thing, you know?
I also think because we came in at a snapshot, we can't compare it to anything either.
True.
All we could compare it to is itself right now.
Also, like our understanding of Bay Area is like after the tech boom. You guys lived in it before the tech boom.
Yeah.
At least like the you know, venture capitalist Zuckerfuck era. You know.
Yeah.
Like, I think that was like a big thing of like the friends I've now made who are from the city like talk about now is like just like the absolute bizarre cultural shifts of like when San Francisco was just like completely overran by a bunch of like nerds with money,
Yeah.
basically like out of nowhere. And I feel like so many of the people from who grew up in like I guess specifically the city just talk about how like just truly how different it is since like even 15 years ago, like very bizarre and weird. But I don't know, do you guys like the changes, would you say? Or
I mean, we're both from Concord, so like at least like me, I mean, I don't want to speak for you, but like I mean, I have a ton of friends that are like San Franciscans, like grew up like I have friends that are like third, fourth generation San Franciscans, and they are very familiar with that because they grew up like in the Haight, or they grew up like, you know, like off to Visit Air, or they grew up wherever they grew up. But it's like I noticed it, but more so from like almost like a Miles view, you know, where like I'd realize it because I certainly, at least from the age of 16, I've been in San Francisco when I was in the Bay Area from 16 to 19. I was there every single week, so you certainly realized it. But I don't think I felt the impact of it in the same way that somebody who's like from the city would. But I definitely saw their reactions to it, which I think is what I pulled from it more so. And it's really, really sad because San Francisco is like, I mean, at least in my opinion, I don't think there's any city in America that's more ostracized by the media for arguably like,
for sure.
It's a very complicated thing because like, of course San Francisco has a ton of issues. It does, just objectively. But also like, it's really, really hard to understand those issues unless you've lived in the Bay Area. I truly feel that way. Like, I think like it's really easy to think the entirety of SF is Zombieland and not just Embarcadero and the Tenderloin. But it's like if you move there, you live in the Bay Area, you understand that like, you know, 0.5 of the 7 miles that make up the city are like that, and the vast majority of the city is like, you know, like Seacliff, like Pacific Heights, like really, 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 or North Beach, like really rich areas.
Yeah.
And that's like, yeah, it gets complicated, and I don't think there's any scenario, dude, like SF could be like more ridden with poverty than it is right now, and I don't think I could ever not love it. It just will always forever feel like the city to me. Like, I don't know if you feel like that, but it's like LA to me feels like something different. It feels foreign. It's not like the blueprint of a city in my brain is San Francisco.
yeah.
San Francisco's city planning relative to other metropolitan cities, at least in America, but definitely compared to Los Angeles, is so much better.
Yeah.
Like the fact you have parks and like transit in SF is crazy.
I feel like that's bare minimum, like
Yeah.
what
Yeah.
a city should have
Well,
is
but,
parks and
like-
transit. Gotta be
But like
honest.
look at like
accessible
Bars.
transit.
every
so
other
on the floor.
yeah, like every other metropolitan city pretty much in America though, like fucking LA, like Houston, Indianapolis, like these random places that are just so overran by cars and stuff like that, and it's just that like urban sprawl. SF I think is like one of the few on the West Coast that like kind of nailed it. Like I think it's sick that like the 101 can't run through the city. Like
Yeah.
there's a lot of little things that make in my experience, why I love SF.
I've never thought
it
about
feels
that.
So much more livable. Like,
Yeah.
and I also think, yeah, like to your point earlier, like SF, it's just like propagandized bullshit. That,
Yeah, it
like,
really is.
People want to say that SF's a shitty city because it's just like the beacon for liberalism, right, in America.
Yeah.
So it's like,
Yeah.
I have family members down in OC who are, you know, obviously more conservative because they live in OC. And like,
How do you survive up there in the
literally,
city?
yeah, like even like my cousins who are not like,
Yeah, bro.
they're not boomers, like they're just like straight up like in their 40s or something. They're like, so is it like crazy? And I'm like, dude, it's like so chill. Like it's
Yeah.
like obviously 100% there are issues to be dealt with, but like the idea that it's just like some forgotten post-apocalyptic like Mad Max, you know,
It's
it's just
not
like
true.
it's sensationalism.
No,
Like, that's all it is.
what's crazy about that to me is like y'all are all in California. Like information
Yeah.
is not like
I
that
know.
hard to come by.
Yeah, for
Like
sure.
when I go back home, my parents live in London now. When I say I'm from San Francisco, that's when people are like, "Oh shit, word." And what's interesting to me is I literally was in Baltimore before this, and Baltimore also has a terrible reputation.
Yeah.
And people react worse to SF than they do to Baltimore. And I'm like, all right, guys, like neither of these places are like, I'm like a woman, like I'm fine, you know,
Yeah.
like let's calm down here. Like, yeah, there's problems, but it's fine.
Yeah.
And so the fact that like it's in California and it's all the way across the world, I don't know, guys, just it's fine.
I think it's like a big part of it too is like just, but that's the thing, right? It's like the reason why the issues feel so larger than life and are able to like be like sold that way in the media. I think it's just because of the incredible wealth disparity that exists in San Francisco,
sure.
where you have the ultra rich
Yeah.
living like
100%.
above or like literally like physically
top of,
above, like
yeah.
on top of like some of the poorest people in the country. A really close friend of mine took this picture one day when we were in the city, and it I think about it very often. It's this. We were like, we went to a Giants game and we were like on the pier. That's Pier 20, whatever it is. I don't know, one of the piers. Anyway, but we're like, he took a picture, and there was this homeless guy with like all his belongings or whatever, and it was at the bottom of the frame. And he took the picture vertically, and above him was the Salesforce Tower, and it framed like perfectly. And I think it just spoke to like what the wealth disparity in San Francisco
For
is.
sure.
It's
I think that's
so
like the
crazy.
biggest thing that you can shit on SF for 100%. It's like, yeah, I think that's also kind of the irony of like, you know, your very like right-wing people hating on SF is like there truly is no better example of like late stage capitalism in our country than SF. It's like that,
100%,
like
yeah.
the things that it's like free market economics. Look at fucking SF, dude. Like it's like straight up tech billionaires amongst like
The ultra
so
poor.
many like needlessly impoverished people, you know. So
I mean,
don't know.
bubbles bursting though. Bubbles bursting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How have you guys
Shit's
felt?
hitting the fan.
Because I've been down here for like a year and like close-ish to 2 years. So I guess I haven't really understood or seen like the last 2 years of San Francisco. How have you seen it change internally while you live there? Also, what part of the city do you guys live in?
I live in Soma.
Oh, okay.
I moved to the Mission like a year ago. so I'm there.
Gotcha. Okay.
I've been living in the same spot since I moved there, but it's like Inner Sunset,
Gotcha.
Cold Valley, Haight-Ashbury, that little
Okay,
area.
cool.
Yeah.
But I would say like, I don't know. Well, at least from like a local music perspective, like I
Yeah.
think it's still pretty tight knit, and there's still like, you know, every day there's new arts things going on, and like a very tight knit community, which I love about like the Bay Area music scene a lot. I don't know how it compares to like the LA music scene really, opposed from like some of the bands I've met out here, like not trying to talk shit or anything, but they have a different kind of like mindset.
Damn, Cam.
No, I'm
Talk
not-
shit on their ass.
I'm not trying to talk
Go
shit,
get
but
'em.
it's like they have a whole nother mindset.
I think that's fair.
like
yeah.
bands that move
It is,
here, you know, like
100%.
transplant bands that move here.
You don't come to LA to
Yeah,
not
exactly.
that.
Like, and I
But-
get it, because like Hollywood and shit, and this is where dreams come true or
Yeah.
whatever, and like it's where all record labels are, like major record labels and
Yeah.
shit, and you know, like it's a different kind of mindset than like being
sure.
a community.
I 100%. I totally agree. I will say, on the flip side, as somebody who loves the Bay Area with all my heart, I think it you get to a point where that becomes the downfall if you're really trying to like
sure.
do this and like be serious about it. It's like and that was kind of the very very hard reality that I think I kicked around for like a year and a half when I considered moving here. I thought about it every day. I was like, because I love the Bay Area so much. Like my number one dream is to open a venue in the city. That's like all I want to do. That's why I do all of this. That's like
Sick.
all I want to do is open a venue in the city. But it's like I wrestled with that for so long. It was like to get to that level, I think, unless you're like building just really, really, really strong community in the Bay Area, I find that like there's just not. I don't think it's not enough people, but maybe it's not enough people who are like into music specifically. And not to say that there's none, because there's certainly a lot, but I think a lot of people there see it as more of like a pastime or a passion project, which is beautiful and totally fine. But it's just like, I will say, I agree with you, but I think that almost is a reason why people move here, because I think there's like an implied level of seriousness if you move here, at least from the Bay Area, that comes with it. Not to say there's people here that don't not take their music seriously, because there certainly are, but I think like it is a different mindset for sure. And I feel you, because as somebody who like desperately wants to build community, but I think you have to acknowledge that like building community, I think a lot of times has to be a conscious effort. Like you have to take actual steps to get there. And I think it got kind of difficult to do that in San Francisco, because there's just a point where like you need to put effort in, and like a lot of people weren't willing to, and that was something I don't know I grappled with every day. But I'm curious. I feel like the scene has changed a lot, at least since I moved. I know you've been part of it forever. I mean, as long as I've known you. Do you think it's changed in the last 2 years?
I don't think it changed in a bad way, but I think like, you know, ever since COVID, I think it's definitely been getting stronger every year. There's things every weekend. There's multiple shows, double books. You know, it's hard to describe. It's hard to choose a show that you want to go to support your friends when you're in the community, because it's just like, oh well, I can't go to 2 shows that start at 7:00 all across the city. You know what I mean? But I don't see that as a bad thing. I see it as like it's thriving. You know, there's a lot going on, and I'm close to these people and want to support these people. You know, but yeah, that's what I think.
I am from the outside. I'm curious about this. This is like, I'm happy right now. I'm getting like a inside scoop because I don't live there anymore. And I try so desperately to keep in touch with everything, but it's very like, you know, if you're not going to shows every weekend, you don't feel it. You just don't. I feel like, at least in the past year, bands that like are in your guys' sound range, for sure, like anywhere from like alt to indie rock or anywhere in that kind of thing, I feel like those have been replaced by a lot of like hardcore bands in the city, at least in the Bay Area. Like I feel like the San Jose hardcore scene, and like you have obviously like the Surprise Privileges and the False Flags and people like that who like are fucking killing it, and like the more hardcore angle of stuff. And I feel like that whole community has grown a lot, and that's been interesting to watch from the outside. Do you guys feel that way? Like, I feel like, because I mean, at least like I think pre-COVID there was a ton of like indie rock type stuff, like a ton of it. But I think post-COVID hardcore replaced a lot of it. Do you see that or no?
I don't think replaced is the right word. However, I do think the hardcore scene and the I want to say punk scene as well has grown a lot. But I think like the punk scene has been growing with the hardcore scene and the indie rock scene, because they're kind of adjacent in some of those things. They have a lot of similarities, you know, because like we as a band sonically kind of touch like some punk stuff, and like I think we're stretching and doing some like Americana stuff, some bluesy stuff too. Changing our sound a bit for the future. So, you know, like we're able to flex that as a band and musicians and stuff. Sorry, I'm just rambling.
That's what this is for.
Yeah, exactly.
I do think, though. Sorry, we're gonna cut you off.
I was just gonna say on like one last note, like I think hardcore has definitely been getting more popular amongst people and inspiring a lot more people. Hence, why the growing of hardcore and the punk.
Yeah, totally. What were you gonna say, Nick?
I was just gonna say that I think like a cool aspect of like. And I definitely agree with the things you're saying of like maybe levels of seriousness, or like maybe there are just like also people with like different like priorities even, because I think you come to an LA or New York and you're kind of throwing yourself into the deep end in a really cool way, where it's like I gotta get this shit going, you know? And so like that enables a lot more focused commitment in a way that like being elsewhere maybe wouldn't. But I do think the other side of the coin of like being in a place like SF where maybe it's not like there's not Capitol Records down the road sort of a thing, it's like I think the people who then get into it and are committed to it are like just like doing exactly what they want to be doing, you know? And I think that's like why the hardcore scene is like getting big. Like I remember I was talking to a friend and they were like, actually, we're like a really good, maybe it was UCAM, but like a really good hardcore scene exists in like Salt Lake City, Utah, because it's like so much repressed Mormonism that like as a result,
That's so interesting.
like so many people needed an outlet of like true artistic expression, and now there's like a sick hardcore scene in like fucking the last place you would expect, Mormontown, USA.
I think that was Eason.
Oh, maybe it was Easton.
Yeah, because I remember hearing that too. It wasn't
Yeah,
Interesting.
but like, yeah, and I feel like that's like the
Shouts
cool
out
part
Easton.
where it's like,
Shouts out Eason.
yeah,
What up, Eason?
Eason, how's your first day in Tennessee?
yeah, back in
Big shouts to
Nashville.
Easton.
Yeah.
I love I'm acting like I know who that is. I
Yeah.
know my guy Easton.
Yeah.
No, but I think that's like a really cool thing of like, you know, I think I've been to a lot of shows in LA, and I've been to a lot of shows in SF now, and like the kind of like local scenes in LA, definitely not all of them, but like a good amount of them, it's like you can tell people are making music for commercial success with that it being the intent, where it's like maybe sometimes it is legitimately good, but it's also like very clear that, oh, we're all kind of trying to do the same thing here, versus I think when you're in a place like, you know, SF, where maybe it's not necessarily like the goal to, I mean, I don't want to diminish anyone's goals in SF.
course,
like,
yeah.
I'm sure everyone in SF would love to make it big too in that like way, but I think there's like more of like a, because you don't feel as much, I don't know. I think there's maybe the nice side is there's like more space for authenticity of making whatever sort of music you want to make, or like whatever sort of art you want to make, which I think, yeah, it really like rewards certain things. But that also sounds like I'm like shitting on LA scene. I'm definitely there's just so much in LA.
100%.
Yeah.
It's huge, dude. And I will say, this is like simultaneously my favorite thing in the world to talk about, and I'm happy we're talking about it. But also, it's like a painful thing to talk about, because it's like
100%.
it's fucked, bro. It's like I grappled with that for so long. Like
Yeah.
I love the bass so much, but it was like I feel like it got to a point where, like, at least for what I was doing, there just wasn't enough there, or at least things that were like prevailing and breaking out of that scene. I feel like there maybe was like 5-6 years ago a bit more, and there are definitely some, but it's just like a way smaller place, dude. Like, it's just like the city is 7x7, bro.
Yeah.
And the Bay Area is not that big either. Like,
Yeah.
LA is like 12 cities in one, and
Yeah.
it's been very interesting moving down here too, because like when I first moved down here, I think I was around a bunch of Bay Area transplants, people just who were from the Bay that moved down here, and then I was around just a bunch of people who were like from other places and down here. And I think like I've been exposed to this music scene lately that's like a very band, like kind of like surf punk, alt punk, like a very like largely Latin fronted like band scene that's like from LA, bro. And like I kind of had the same mentality as what you were just saying. Like, I hadn't really found or been exposed to anything that was like from LA that like felt local, and then I found this kind of scene that's like with like there's so many like Willow Wake and Israel's Arcade and like Grave Secrets and a bunch of bands like that who like I've been getting super into, and getting exposed to that scene really opened my eyes, because those dudes are like LA as fuck, like they're from LA, and I guess not Israel, he's from Coachella, but they're all from like SoCal. And that scene is like so proud of where they're from in a way that feels so separate from like a lot of the people I was around when I first moved down here, who are very much in like the pop world or the indie pop world or whatever. That is like that shit felt like the Bay Area band scene that like I kind of grew up in. I felt like it just felt so different, and that was so fascinating to me.
I think.
Sorry, go ahead.
Well, I think another like factor in all of this is like the cost of living is just like
was just gonna say
fucking
that.
insane,
Yeah.
right? So like the dominant culture in LA like is just entertainment focused or like more culturally focused, and the dominant scene in SF is tech focused. So like either way, you have to like be making money to support whatever your hobby is. Like you could be in LA and like have coding as your hobby, and you can be in SF and have music as your hobby, or like whatever. And it's just fucking expensive. Like it's
huge,
you just like that's always going to be a factor in things,
so
of, like
key.
the pressure of it. And then I was also going to say, and this is like might be just completely incorrect, but like I came into the music scene like pretty recently. Like when I joined this band, essentially is when I like found myself in the music scene and like around local bands and stuff. And like I never really listened to punk or hardcore stuff before I came to SF. And I think I think I'm again like confluencing like a bunch of different things into one sentiment. But I think what's interesting is like that punk or hardcore music is very much like about energy. It's
100%.
like both about the music, but also about like the performance, like the moshing, the energy, the crowd, like all of that stuff. And I think that's what restarts a music scene. Like as a
Yes,
music
yeah.
scene grows, so does like the energy is needed in order to keep that inertia. And for me, a lot of that energy is found really easily in punk or hardcore music, right?
100%,
Where you're
yeah.
like engaged in it and you're like going to it. And so like
So
that
true.
scene is like, I feel like it's growing a lot at the same time as like maybe the music scene is like recovering from COVID. I think in part because of that energy, which is so sick.
That's
like,
such a good
I'm a
point.
huge fan
Yeah.
now. It's
Yeah.
sick.
That is such a good point. To touch on what you were first saying, I think about that a lot. I totally agree with you. I mean specifically in SF, bro, it's like people have to work too. Like if you're not working in tech pretty much, or have like a very stable job doing something tech adjacent, you have to work like 2 to 3 jobs or commit some type of crime to like live. Like
Or just get really fucking lucky.
yeah, or
Like,
just get really lucky.
Yeah, or have rich parents.
Yeah, exactly, which is a large part of the city too.
For
but
sure.
But it's like, it's really, really hard from like the angle of somebody who grew up pretty middle class to like look at the city and be like, oh, like make music, even though you have to work two to 3 fucking jobs to pay for like a random apartment in like the Tenderloin. Like,
Yeah.
how can you ask somebody at that point to put more of their time into making art? And I mean, like, don't get me wrong, like, I love music, but we're not doing heart surgery. We're not doing brain surgery. Like, it's an extra thing. It's not needed. Like, I think music is one of the most beautiful healing things in the world. It is my life. I love it in a way that I love nothing else. But it's not needed. Like, we need more teachers. We need more doctors. We need more surgeons. Like, we don't need another indie band. Like, honestly. And that's just from the truth. Like, we don't need another music media company. We don't. We're so blessed to do this, you know? Like, we're all so lucky to be able to do this and even have a chance of doing it, you know? But it's like, it's really, really difficult, I think, to ask, like, people who are trying to make ends meet to put their time into anything that's not making ends meet, you know?
Yeah. But then the people who are doing it, like, are either privileged or, like, really passionate about it. And then I think, like, the function or, like, the other side of that is, like, for people who are, like, tired and, like, don't have the time or the energy or, like, the privilege to be able to be creative, like, they can then go to shows and, like, experience that culture for themselves as well, which is, like, huge. And, like, as long as that culture is, like, inviting and productive and creative, like, I mean, I feel like that's the most important thing, is that it's like not exclusionary in any sense of the word.
That's what I think is so key about what you were saying about the hardcore stuff. And I'd be curious to see if you guys like feel this way, but I think hardcore and like punk music, a lot of it like does better when like either the city or the world is in a bad place.
For sure.
Yeah,
You know, like-
Hundo P.
I was gonna-
Yeah.
It's like it in and of itself is a counterculture genre.
Uh-huh.
Like
Yeah.
that's where it comes from. And so it's like I think a lot of the bounce back of hardcore and punk, especially in the city, is like because of tech. It's a bunch of people got pushed out and they're fucking angry about it.
Yeah.
They like have the right to be angry about it. And like and to your point, like the inertia, the energy, like that's what punk or like hip hop, well, any sort of like counterculture
Yeah.
genre is like fueled on. Like it's like what it needs. Otherwise it just feels fake.
Yeah.
Like I remember there was this I don't know. There's this what were they called? During the pandemic, this like TikTok girl punk band out of Nashville got really big.
Oh my God, I remember Fantano talking about this. This is
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
I think I remember.
I went to music school with one of the girls, and like it was like they were basically industry plants, basically, and they're supposed to be like punk.
They open for Green Day?
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
like fuck, I forgot their name.
Linda Linda's? No.
No.
Damn, Mario, what was in that band?
Tramp stamps.
Oh, I was thinking
ones?
I was thinking of something else,
I
but
mean,
yeah.
that goes to show like it's kind of like I don't even think necessarily that they like deserved the hate, but I think the hate just comes from the fact that it's like it's the same thing as like frat rap, like white dudes doing rap music, where it's just like you're technically hitting the notes, like you have overdrive on your guitar and you're screaming, but it's like the actual nuts of like what you're going for are like empty, they're gone. So it's like the driving force of like the art you're trying to create has zero substance to it, and therefore it just doesn't connect.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
It's like cosplaying, like
Literally.
Yeah.
And then that's super disrespectful to
For
like
sure.
what you guys are talking about. People who like bust their ass, sacrifice a lot of things in their life to create art that like maybe isn't, you know, the same level of need as, you know, healthcare or something like that, but it's like it's important enough to a community, and to like so like I don't know, like to so shamelessly just like cosplay that sort of thing is just, it feels so immediately disrespectful to like everything that this scene stands for.
Yeah,
100%.
cosplay without self-awareness.
Yeah.
That's the tough
That's
bit.
tough.
Is they're like, no, I am the genre. It's like, well, like, let's maybe acknowledge the historical roots of what
Read
you're
a
doing
book.
here, buddy.
Yeah, read a book.
Yeah.
Touch
Look-
grass.
yeah,
you
look-
know?
Fucking nerd.
Act like you've been somewhere.
Wikipedia, look it up. One thing I was thinking about when you were just saying that, I think I went to a show a couple years ago with somebody, and we saw an artist that makes very political music, and this person got very frustrated at the fact this artist is making very political music, and the genre this artist exists in is not. It's kind of like psychedelic rock, but it's like this is a European artist, and then we got on the topic of talking about like punk music, and this person was very perturbed that a lot of punk and hip hop music is always political, and that argument to me just
It doesn't make
it doesn't make any sense.
It
It's
have
just
to be
it's
Yeah.
inherently political. It's a
Yeah.
political movement.
For
Like
sure.
there is, and that's the thing about San Francisco, right? It's like that city is very political. Whether you're left, right, middle, it doesn't matter where you're on the aisle. That's a very, very political city.
Yeah.
And it's like politics. I think it's so stupid when people are like, "I'm not political." Everything's political.
Yeah. Everything
which
is
is something that's so silly to me. But it's really, really interesting, and I think that is why a lot of those genres probably flood into the city as well, because it's a very political place and there's very political genres, and I don't think you can untie the two.
For sure.
You know. So doing that and kind of living in the city and kind of seeing how the scene progresses, and this is a really cool conversation to me, because like I think about this very, very, very often. I think I have a very specific opinion about like what brings culture and like brings thriving like energy and just like what rebuilds like music scenes. Do you guys think like the SF music scene is in a place where like it is growing? Is it staying the same? Is it getting smaller? Like where do you see it going the next couple years? Like what do you like, I guess to put it more simply, like put me on, like what like what's coming up that I should be aware of?
That's a good question. I mean, like I said earlier, I think it is ever growing, getting stronger for sure, and like every day, like, you know, touring bands, West Coast, going through the West Coast, they always stop in San Francisco. It's a big city, lots of flavors going through there, and it's a very potent music scene, you know, for any city too, you know, very potent music scenes that has a space for anyone to come by and like try to draw a crowd, you know, but I think also respecting like local music acts is a big thing and needs some research to be done if you're coming through. And I say that with any city and any touring band, to do their research and like see who's playing, if they fit your sound, if they could draw a similar crowd to you, if you're trying to expand, whatever you're trying to do there. Like, I think just like be respectful of the local community that is there, you know.
Yeah.
I think also we've played like at some universities recently. Like we go up to Davis a good amount. Like we've played with
I saw you guys play with Slutney, right?
Yeah.
They're dope.
Yeah, they're super sick.
That's super sick.
Yeah. And there's like, you know, like a couple other bands that we've played with up there, like Agraria and like Charity Kiss, even though they're not from Davis. But like them, and then like
Charity Kiss. I've heard that name in forever.
Yeah,
That's sick.
yeah.
That's super sick.
Yeah, we
Reno.
played with them
They're from-
twice. Yeah, no,
I
they're
thought it was
sick.
3 times.
Well, we played them a bunch. Yeah.
That's super sick.
Yeah, I think
Shouts out
the
Charity
point.
Kiss.
yeah.
Shouts out Charity
They're
Kiss.
super dope.
But I feel like a lot of when we go to play these universities, we play with like university bands, and like there are so many of them, and they're so excited about music, and then they move to the city and like continue doing music. Like, so I feel like there's a lot of growth from that angle as well. And again, I don't have the historical perspective on the music scene, so I can't comment like broadly on trends. But I think what's something that I really appreciated is, and I think like what we have going really well for us in SF is like that culture of inclusivity around music of like nobody's gonna be a bitch to you if you like go into the music scene. Like everybody's like
and
sharing
if they are, they're
instruments.
probably from LA.
Yeah, everybody's just so like resource sharing, information sharing, like down to like support you and like put together things, and like that's what's important is like if you have that kind of culture where it's like inclusive and like you're building something
community,
then like you'll get there, you know.
I think this is definitely something for Sumi to talk on, but I think
let's go. Let's go. I love to yap.
I think one thing I've noticed, and not at all saying that there isn't a queer music scene here, but I think SF is just historically a pretty like safe space for queer people as a city, and the music scene in SF is very queer in like a really great way. A lot of like, you know, Slutney, you know, chick punk band is fucking sick. I don't know, Sumi, like what that was like. Is that for your experience? Like, I guess you can't necessarily compare it to other music scenes in other cities you've been in, but what has your experience been like?
I feel like what's interesting is that SF music scene is more queer than it's more queer than it is like women centered.
Yeah, I think so too.
Like that's something I've always kind of like thought about is like, and then this is like my bit when I go to shows is like I'm like like my own private bathroom, because there's no women like during sound check. A lot of the people that we play with are just men, and like that's fun, but like I don't know, where are the women who like play instruments? Like where are the women in the music industry or like in that scene? That's kind of like my main thing that I've been thinking about of like why that's the case of like, and I've put a lot of thought into it. I think and we don't have to get into it. I have like literally so many thoughts on it, but
this would be the time
I'm super
to get
interested.
into it.
Well, okay, all right. But it's like it's nothing new. Like I think it's like one music and like it's like with cooking too. Like women are expected to cook, but then like chefs are men. Like there's no female chefs, right?
That's a really good. I've never thought about that.
Yeah, it's like, oh, you can cook, but you can't like be successful at it. You should just like, you know, cook for your family. Like don't make a career out of it.
My mom's a chef, and she's talked about that a lot.
Yeah. Okay. Exactly. So like,
and she's worked in kitchens her whole life. My mom is somebody who like, she's very like accepting of all her surroundings and always tries to make the best of it. And I think she's not somebody who would like feel very like inclined to like speak out about something like that. Not because she doesn't feel that way, just because I don't know. She's just very simple person. I love her to death, but she's also like very vocal about that thing specifically in kitchens. Like
it's
how
hard
she
not
feels
to
like
notice
that.
it. Yeah, like it's not like I'm like out here, you know, like advocating. I don't know, but it's not. It's very easy to notice and very palpable. Where you're like, okay, cool. Like I am the only woman in this room right now. Like sick. So I think there's that where it's like not encouraged from like a professional or like any sort of serious perspective, especially musical instruments. Like you see a lot of like vocalists who are women, and that's sick, but like women who just like play drums or like play guitar and don't sing. Like where's that? Like I feel like women aren't encouraged to like pick up music as a hobby like that or like 100%. In a serious hobby. And then that brings me to my other point, which is more generally about how men and women, and this is like a very binary conversation, like interact with each other, masculine, feminine, is like men, I tend to see that they like focus on interests. They'll be like, oh, like well, let's hang out and play basketball, or let's hang out and jam, right? Like they're doing an activity. Women, we talk, like we just like hang out, we vibe, we like sit in the park or like get dinner or like whatever.
My girlfriend told me the same thing. Yeah,
where it's like
funny.
You're not encouraged to do activities with your friends, right? So then you don't spend as much time as like maybe men who are, or people who have been encouraged to do that. So like something I've been thinking about is like I have hobbies, but I'm not very good at any of them because I haven't put that much time into them because I was never encouraged to have hobbies until I was an adult and was like, like I would like to be using my time creatively and I have to carve out time to do that, and that's not something that's encouraged for women, like, which is weird because we're supposed to be like having these like feminine little hobbies, right? But only to a certain extent and only in particular ways. So I think that really applies to the music scene of like, there's just there's like a whole confluence of things. Like then you throw in cost of living, you throw in probably like the barrier of like, you don't see women, so you don't like feel safe. Like, and I feel super lucky that like, even though I'm in a band with all men, that like, I do feel supported, and like that's, I feel like really, really lucky, right? So there's just a whole bunch of things going on that I think like lead to just a lack in the SF community that I've seen so far.
I would ask you, and I think I made a couple of videos from my other job about this, about like just the music industry at large and the way women are discriminated against the music industry. Do you feel like it's an SF specific thing, or do you think it's just like a music at large thing? Because I'd be curious to
Gotta
see.
be music at large. Thing, right?
Yeah, for
it's
sure.
definitely.
Right?
Well, yes, but then
Like,
I
do you think
also,
SF has anything specific to it, or no?
I just can't speak on other
Okay.
local music scenes, right?
Yeah.
Like I can speak about SF, but then I also something I've been thinking a lot about too is like just pop culture and like I think I was talking to Nick about this of like the rise of like Sabrina Carpenter, Chappell Roan, Charlie XCX, like all at the same time. And they're all hitting like a very specific type of femininity, which is like bratty energy.
Totally.
And that's interesting to me because they're capitalizing on femininity while kind of like twisting it a little bit of being like, yes, I'm a woman, but like also fuck you, I don't owe you anything. And that's kind of what like Brat Summer is all about. That's what like Sabrina Carpenter is kind of all about. Like, so there is like, there are ways that femininity expresses itself, obviously a lot in music, but a lot of it has to be like twisted in order to be like strengthened or like, you know, like there's, it can't just be like softness, which you usually associate with femininity. I don't know, like, I just feel like women have to really market themselves in a very particular way.
For sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's also just like the immediate and like the almost just expected default hypersexualization of women
True.
in any sort of entertainment
Yeah.
like space.
That's
like,
so true, bro.
like men can be funny, you know, men
Yeah.
can like do a lot of different things, like, you know,
Bro, yeah.
like
I never thought
they're
about that,
really
yeah.
sick shredding guitarists who are men who don't have to do anything other than shred on guitar for people to be like, you're the fucking sickest dude ever.
Yeah.
But it's like women have to be like really good and also everyone wants to have to fuck them all the time, you know. It's
Yeah.
like that's like a really weird, I don't know, but
Or people just have to want to fuck them. That's the
just
other
period.
thing. Which
Yeah.
like what's super weird is like people will make that comment to me all the time where they're like, "Oh, you must get hidden all the time." Don't fucking say that to me. Like
Yeah, that's
the
weird.
first thing I tell you is I'm in a band, and then you're like, "Oh, you must be like, hey, like."
yeah.
I'm a person. I play music. Like
Yeah.
let's not immediately sexualize like the woman on stage, right?
Yeah. That's so
Weird,
yeah.
weird. Not good vibes. Boo! Don't do that. Don't do that.
That's so true. Like and it's also like I think that is even more common in like a band with like men, and then like there's a woman in the
Yeah.
band. You know, it's like, oh, like that's the hot woman in the band, or like that's the one woman in the band. That's
Yeah.
hot.
Like she serves a purpose
Yeah.
for other
Right.
men.
Yeah, exactly. Like not like a music, like almost like not an instrument.
I guess I'm like
you know?
flattered that I'm like hot enough to be that instrument, but also, yeah, it's kind of tough out here.
Yeah, it's. And
Don't get too far ahead of yourself. You're really good at bass. You're really good at
I'm
bass.
sorry,
That's the
I'm
only
sorry.
reason.
Yeah, my bad, guys, my bad. That was really embarrassing.
I also wonder like how you know what's fucked too. I think about this a lot, and I think there's a lot of instances like this, right? I don't like it when like there's a band that is made up of all women, and it's like that's the woman band, or like
Yeah,
that's like
yes.
that's the girl punk band, or like
Sure.
Yeah.
you know what's the worst, bro? Is in rap. It's like who's your top 5 female
rapper.
rappers?
Yeah.
Who's your favorite female rapper? It's like there's
Yeah.
like we don't say male rappers. I'm not like,
Yeah.
oh, that's Gucci Mane and Travis Scott, my 2 favorite male rappers.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think like I don't know, but then that I think brings up like an interesting point of like clearly that's like a weird thing to do, but I also think that we also need to acknowledge like the reality of why those statements exist in the first place. It's like
True.
it is just uncommon. Like
Yeah.
you just like
It's like a
in
visibility
such an
thing.
oversaturated thing that are so male dominated. It's like it's that weird thing of like, yeah, women need to be more spotlighted, queer people need to be more spotlighted, but also it can feel like, you know, we are making weird exceptions for them because
Yeah.
they need it, or like, you know, just like weird dynamics like that. And it's complicated. It's at the end of the day, though, I think it's just about like offering people and like I think there's also like fair critiques about like, you know, men love to point at like feminism and like the issues with like how women are practicing feminism, but it's like at the end of the day allowing women to have autonomy, you know,
Yeah.
to just decide what is right for them, I guess, at the end of the day, and maybe not having such an opinion on it and like giving that space.
Yeah, I was just gonna say maybe women don't want to be in music. Maybe they
Yeah.
just don't like
Maybe
playing
women
instruments.
want to be in the
man.
kitchen. Maybe
Yeah.
maybe that's where women are happiest, and we just have to let them do it.
Maybe they want to play
Yeah.
chess. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is kind of not change the topic, but it's just kind of wrapping around to it. I think and this I did a piece recently for my other job on Gilman, like the whole history of Gilman. And I think when you point out like very specific instances where people may be excluded, certain groups in like music scenes or the music industry at large, I think why I go back. Sorry, I just touched your knee. I think why.
Nice.
I nice.
Yeah, I'm coming from that side.
Yeah. I feel like one thing that cuts through all of that, and I think always has, is a physical location that changes the whole dynamic of a music scene. One venue, one DIY spot, one thing that like harbors community around it in a specific city. I think if you look at the majority of like huge musical movements, one of the most common threads with everything has been like there's been one spot where everybody was included, be it girl, man, somewhere in the middle, like straight, bisexual, gay, whatever, race didn't matter, religion, whatever. It's just like everybody was included in one specific space for an extended period of time, and that brought something to that scene that changed the course of whatever that genre was going to be in that localized scene. And I feel like when I moved out of the Bay, I don't think there's a lot of venues in the Bay for sure. I don't think it has like one. Like, I don't think it has like one spot that's like that right now that has like a huge scene coming through it. I think one of the better examples is Stay Gold. And I think Stay Gold had that for a bit, for sure. It was different. It was weird. It was a fucking deli in Oakland. And it was like, there was a huge scene going through it. And they were just throwing shows every day at this deli in Oakland. That felt like the closest semblance to anything like that. And there, there's probably things that I'm very blind to and unaware of, we don't know anything about. But I'd be really curious to see, like, maybe that's the idea why I'm so obsessed with opening a venue. It's because I just believe so much in like the vessel that a physical location can be for like the curation of a music scene.
Well, I low-key think, not to put pressure on you, Cam, but like low-key your garage shows
bro.
are like that. Like,
I guess so.
where there was like literally an article written about like a show that you threw that we played out with Choke Cherry and like I Am the Octopus and then one other, Parisian Mansluts.
Shout out Tyler. Had Tyler on the podcast.
Oh, let's go.
3 years ago, before he was in that band ever, and he was like playing guitar for like some rappers and producing rap music.
Yeah.
Dude, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
So cool to see him go on and do all that shit, bro.
Hell
Their
yeah.
band is fucking awesome.
Yeah, they're cool. But like, I feel like it's like Cam, as you've been like such a staple of the music scene, you like really encourage, you have hella friends, like you just like love it and commit yourself to it and like open your home up to it, and like that's the energy that like just encourages, like people like come in hordes to see the show and like love it and like go crazy, and people are like moshing. I lost my earrings on the floor. Like people were just like going for it, and like that kind of energy. I feel like maybe there isn't like one venue, but to me, like the archetype of the music scene in SF is Cam's Garage. Thoughts, Cam?
Thoughts, Cam?
I mean, yeah, I throw banger
Save it.
parties. Yeah, no,
Unless Cam's parents are listening or watching this podcast,
Yeah.
there are zero shows.
Yeah.
Cam's Garage is a construct. It's not a metaphysical
Yeah,
place.
it's a theory, or
Yeah. I mean,
It's a metaphor for his brain.
right. His soul.
Yeah, Cam's Garage means his brain.
Yeah. Cam's Garage is Cam's asshole.
That's what it is. Park your car in.
Anyone can enter. Anyone can
His big
stay.
naturals. Yeah.
Big naturals.
That's all real, baby.
Big Naturals is wild.
Yeah.
That's on Nick. That's on Nick.
Yeah, that's on it. But yeah, I mean, like, I like to throw shows and like to organize it, and I've been in the scene for a while, and I know through trial and error what works and what doesn't, and what things I could improve on. I'm like, oh, I could do that better, or like, oh, maybe I should try this, or like I need some more personnel to work this out. And I mean, I do have a lot of friends, and thankfully they're very trusting of me, and I'm very trusting of them, and they help me out in doing this, and I couldn't do this alone. And especially like I'm here to do it for the scene, but like mostly for my friends, and I still get hit up by random people in random bands all the time about a show I threw maybe like 3 years ago. About like, oh, you remember that show? I'm like, I did that like years ago, you know, like, or like even the example of like Choke Cherry, good
Shout out
friends of
Choke
mine.
Cherry.
Shout out Choke
Shout out
Cherry.
Choke Cherry.
Very good
So
friends of mine.
fire.
Go
Yeah.
check out Afterglow.
Fuck yeah. You're single out now.
Yeah, new single out now.
I'm a Choke Cherry stan.
Yeah. Choke
Hard
Cherry's-
not to be, dude. Hard
Yeah.
not to be.
Nah, they kill it.
Yeah, love those motherfuckers. But you know, they had their first show in my garage, and you know that was a really good, successful show. And then they went off, did their thing, and now they're like snowballing into bigger things, which I'm very happy for them. And then like they wanted to come back and do another show as like an annual
Cool.
kind of, oh, we're back, this is where it started party. And that was a crazy one. And you know, that was a lot of fun, and that got a lot of traction as well. And I think that was like the smoothest show I've ever thrown too, with like I knew what to prepare for. I had a sound guy, I had door people, I had security, I even had a porta potty.
But they were all friends. Like the sound
They're
guy and
all
security
friends,
were
yeah,
like people
yeah.
who are in the music scene or people who support
Yeah.
the music scene, and
So
that's also
cool.
sick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I even have like a porta potty person now. You know?
Oh,
yeah,
shit.
Yeah, we got a shit guy.
That's,
Shit girl. Shit girl.
Shit gal.
Yeah.
Shit person.
Shit person.
Shit person.
Shit person.
Yeah.
Shit gal. Shouts out Pacific. You know.
Would you ever want to start like throwing, like, is that something you want to keep doing? Like, do you want to keep throwing shows there?
I mean, yeah, but again, like I said, it's my house. It's not a venue, you know, and I do it to support my friends. And,
Yeah.
like,
Cool.
you know, like a main reason is like I don't try to say that too loudly, because like then people will try to be like, oh well, I'm your friend, you know, and
Yeah.
like just want something out of me, opposed to like actually being like a real friend, you
Yeah.
know, like actually being like, hey, blah blah, or like it's more of an invite sort of thing, you know. So
And you gotta want to do it too.
yeah, I
Yeah.
have to want to do it, because if I don't want to do it, it's hard.
Of
you
course,
know?
yeah.
As you've seen, like when you threw the first Above the Bridge show, you did it at my house because the
Yeah.
power went out. So I was like,
Did
you
they know
what?
that story?
No.
I don't know if you guys know this story.
No.
I was like 18. Very
yeah.
first show I ever threw in my entire
Yeah.
life.
Yeah.
Like, Throw It went great. It was packed. It was fucking awesome. He's playing in Have at the time.
Yeah.
They go on halfway through their set. Like,
Oh, you did tell me about
like
this.
1/4 of the power
Oh.
goes out in the city. Like the entire mission went out, and you went outside. There was like, that fucking Tesla that like
Yeah.
crashed into like a generator. It felt like a Gotham City for a moment. It was
It
scary.
was really dark. It was weird.
Yeah, it was scary. But anyway, and then so yeah, that blew. That was like the first show I ever threw. I like hadn't done like anything at that point, and I just like was so stoked that this many people came out to the show, and then Cam was just like, "Fuck it, let's just go throw it in my backyard."
Yeah.
And then we just did it, and then
Yeah.
we ended up rethrowing the show at the venue like a month later, and it went great. But yeah, that was like. Yeah, that was how we met. That's crazy.
Yeah, yeah.
It's crazy to
And
think
just,
about,
like,
bro.
you told me what was going on, and that's when I first met you. But it
Yeah.
was like, you know, you showed me that you had a lot of genuine passion for this project Above the Bridge, and I respected that. So
Thanks,
I was
bro.
like, you know what? I like these music acts too, so like I did want to see them, and I respect them, and so why not throw it at my house? I just had a party at my house, so I had
Yeah.
things there anyway, and I'm like, sure, fuck it, you know.
You're
and
such a homie, dude.
Yeah,
Like,
you're the best, bro.
I guess,
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you know, it was a lot of fun, and I'm glad it came out successful, and you know.
Would you ever like? Because this is interesting. Because like, you know, you're very much a musician in the music scene, whatever. But it's also like, bro, like you are like a community man. So like, but would you ever like want to like work in the more traditional side of the music industry in SF, or even like work towards like doing a venue, or like even like doing management stuff or anything like that? Like, does that interest you at all?
A little bit. Like for a while, I was in between jobs, and I thought about. I wanted to book bands. I tried to
Yeah.
do that like for several venues, but like, you know, just trying to scrounge for money was coming first. So it was like I couldn't really focus on it. But like if I didn't have to worry about money, yeah, I would love to do that. Or like, I mean, I'd love to be like a booker, you know, like maybe not like a venue management, but like definitely be a part of that in that sort of small sense, and give music acts a chance that don't really get to have a voice, or like throw a really good event. I like to do like for my birthday in May, like I had like a little birthday thing at Friends Wine Bar Arcana in the Mission, on like 20th and Mission, and like you know, it was kind of last minute. I didn't feel like doing anything, and like I'm like, oh, I'll just have like a bunch of friends come and hang out or whatever. And then, you know, my friend, she, you know, managed. She doesn't work there anymore. Arcana, and you know, she puts together events and stuff, and they have like DJs and stuff. And I'm like, hey, would that be cool if I just like got like a table or a room or something at the wine bar and just had friends come through? And then she's like, yeah, that's totally fine, but we do have like a DJ that night coming from like New York. I'm like, perfect, there's like a thing going on. And like, what, you guys were there? Like, I filled out that whole private room, even though she said like I could have a table, but it's like it's an open bar, so it's just like people come in anyway. So it's like
it was just the upstairs section of the bar. Like, it wasn't a private room. It was fully open to the public.
But it was just there was like, I don't know, like 90% of those people in that room were my friends, and like downstairs there's like a whole DJ thing going on, and it was just like people were enjoying themselves doing their own thing. And that's something I like, is like having people do their thing and putting together a good event, and people like thought it was my event. Like, it wasn't, but you know, it was cool.
It's the fucking best, bro. There's nothing like it. There's literally nothing like it in my entire I've ever experienced. I don't know. Out of everything I've ever done in music, during shows is my favorite by far.
Yeah,
it's like not even close. Like, dude, it's just, there's something about, and it has, for me, it has less to do with like, well, it has a lot to do with the actual show, obviously, but so much of what I love about it, bro, is like the promo and like making the, and like you know, talk, like, shout out to Toucan, he makes all of our flyers, and this dude is literally Picasso reborn, and it blows my mind that he works at Staples and isn't a millionaire yet, but he will be. But like doing that part of it, and like the art direction of it, and then getting to like put together a bill that makes sense, and like maybe it's a bill like you know, people weren't expecting, and it like there's like a moment where, and this is like one of my most proud moments, I think. There was a moment when I was like 19 where I realized that like acts that were having Above the Bridge interviews were like connecting and becoming friends because they're Above the Bridge interviews. And that was like the coolest thing to me ever. But I feel you on that. Like, dude, like my dream is to like throw a show where someone like finds their like falls in love, or like meets like their best friend, or like decides to make music, you know?
You've
like
probably thrown that show.
Yeah.
I hope so. I met my girlfriend at a show we threw.
There you go.
Dude, what the? Yeah, you did it.
Yeah, so I guess I did in that sense, but yeah.
Community man right here.
Community man.
That's so cute.
I mean, like, we're here today because of you, so, you know.
Thanks, bro.
Yeah.
Do you guys, it's interesting, like, I wonder within the next couple years if there's like a world where, like, I think about this a lot. I wonder, like, somebody who's like in like around our age, or in like our kind of like any like music circle in LA, or above, or not above, or SF or something, right? I wonder if there becomes a place where somebody like gets to the level where they can like do that thing, where they go back and like just really pay it forward and like open a venue. Like, I don't know who it would be or how they could do it, but like, dude, that would be so fucking sick.
It's gonna be you, man.
I hope so, bro. That's my dream. So talking more about. I think this guy wants you to move your car.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Hold
up. Brief intermission.
Boop boop.
Yeah, I think he's saying. Careful, this cord.
Oh my god.
No. Hey,
Watch out for that cord. I'm sweaty.
I'm very sweaty. Oh my god. Wait.
Huh? Everything okay?
Whose glasses are these? Are these yours?
No, yeah, those are mine.
I'm gonna give you some.
Whoa. My cousin just got engaged. That's why I'm laughing.
Whoa!
Holy shit. Whoa, that's crazy.
That's so crazy. They got engaged?
Yeah, it's my cousin on my mom's side just got married, and then this is a cousin on my dad's side.
The one that I met at the bar that one time?
No, she's already married.
Oh, okay.
This is like the cousin right above me. But
Okay.
I really like that guy. We went camping together. He's cool.
Cool.
So now they're, oh my god, that's actually really exciting. I was just talking about that with my other cousin. Let's go.
Nice.
Let's fucking go.
You a big family?
No, that's why it's kind of cool. One of my
Yeah.
cousins is engaged. Like, it's actually a big deal.
Hell yeah.
There's like 5 of us on that side.
Yeah. That's my family too. Yeah. There's 6 of us, just in general. That's it.
Are you an only child, or you got
No,
siblings?
I have 2 brothers.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, I have 2 younger brothers, but yeah, I have like.
Are your parents only children?
No, my mom kind of is. Like, my mom has a sister, but she ran away. She was super
Okay.
young. My mom had like a fucked up childhood. So her
Mm.
sister like ran away when they were like in high school, and that was the last time she saw her. But
Dang.
yeah, pretty crazy. But so she has a sibling, but not like in her life
Okay.
at all. And then my dad has 3 brothers and a sister,
Damn.
but only one of them have kids,
Okay.
or 2 of them have kids. 2 of them have
Yeah,
kids. But
my mom
2
has
of them
3
have one. Yeah.
sisters. Only one of them had kids. So
Yeah,
yeah, I
yeah.
feel you.
Mm.
But I always wish I had hella cousins. That'd be sick.
Yeah, that would
I
be
hope my
cool.
brothers have hella kids. That'd be cool.
That is like a nice ideal, just like a bunch of just like a rat pack, you know, like a bunch of people just running around.
That's the dream.
All by blood. I have a friend who's like he's your classic Italian guy, very family oriented,
Fuck.
and he's like, yeah, my dream is to have 11 sons and just sit around,
11 sons?
and just sit around a big dining table with them and just like talk about shit. Yeah,
Sons
God.
specifically?
specifically sons. He's like, I want 11.
No
sons.
daughters.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
What's
yeah.
his name?
It's Joe. You know Joe.
Joe. Which one?
Joe and Maddie. Joe.
Giovanni?
Oh, I do know. Okay.
Yeah.
That makes it better, actually.
Yeah, he's a super nice guy.
It's Giovanni?
No, it's Joseph.
I was gonna say.
Joseph is not an Italian name.
Nah.
Joe is.
My name's Italian as fuck.
Yeah, I mean Dante.
Pellegrino.
Yeah, that's pretty- that's
Yeah,
pretty
my brother's
Italian.
name is Dominic Giancarlo Pellegrino.
There you
Whoa,
go.
Giancarlo goes
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah, he's like, and that's like as Italian as you can get.
Yeah, that's pretty sick, dude.
Yeah. What are your guys' middle names?
Sumi.
Your middle name's Sumi?
Yeah. My first name's Nicola.
Oh.
Nicholas Sumi.
What do you go by Sumi?
Oh,
Is Nicholas
people
lame and
people
gay?
kept calling it Nicola, which we really didn't like, and also kept calling me Nikki, which I also didn't like. This is when I was like 2, so we just started going by Sumi
Yeah.
super early.
You said it's Nicola?
Nicola, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
You
it's
should-
a- it's a
that's
British name.
That's almost Nikolai, like the bassist
Yeah.
from The Strokes.
It is the female version
Oh.
of the Russian name Nikolai.
Oh, that's
yeah.
great. Yeah.
But it was named after my great grandfather.
lineage.
Yeah, exactly.
crazy.
We should probably
Yeah.
start heading out soon.
Yeah?
Yeah.
But give it a couple minutes to wrap it up?
Sure.
Fuck yeah, that's
Let's
it.
do it.
Hell yeah.
It is like
Sorry
5.
about that.
It's
Yeah.
just crazy.
You're good.
Like a 6.5.
Yeah, you guys
Oh my
have
god,
a long
dude,
ass
it's
drive
fucking
back.
roasting.
Yeah.
Okay,
All right,
tap in.
let's
Lock in.
rock. Lock in.
Lock in.
Lock in.
5, 4, 3.
Damn, bro, that voice sounded like. Have you been on Space Mountain at Disneyland?
There you go.
Remember when they count down?
Yeah.
5, 4, 3, 2.
Did you guys ever
one.
do laser tag growing up?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was this like whenever you get
Qzar.
hit, there was like a
Qzar.
voice. that
Qzar,
was
man, it
like,
conquered shit.
Yeah,
Energize.
Total Santos.
Wait, what is it?
Energize. It's like every time you
Yeah,
get hit,
yeah.
it'd be to tell you to go back to the thing to like reboot. It'd be like energize.
Why do you
I think about that all the
You have
time.
that voice locked.
Well, it's because
bro.
that voice dominated my fucking childhood, dude. I was in the fucking.
Fucking loser.
Yeah, dude. I was in the pits of war, of laser war as a child.
At the laser tag spot, like in Concord, Qzar, I've been there like maybe 10 times my whole life, bro. And there are motherfuckers that just run that shit and like take
Dude,
out like
yeah.
little children. Like
For
they're,
sure.
Like,
There's like,
Yeah.
yeah,
Like the
like,
older teenagers.
There's like
Yeah.
older teenagers that are like hella into
Just
it.
Yeah,
dickhead.
I was one of
Yeah.
those people that got taken out. I like went with
Yeah.
my friend on like in college, and I was like, "Oh, look at this fucking like couple, whatever." Wow, they smoked us. That was
Yeah,
very
bro.
embarrassing.
That'd be a fun thing to do on mushrooms. Just had that thought.
Ooh, being hunted down and shot at.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No. Hunting and shooting. Hunting and shooting.
Very primal.
Yeah. I suppose you can't have one without the other.
Yes, yes, a little bit of both, maybe.
I feel like cute, like laser tag and trampoline parks for whatever reason they're interlocked in my head. Did you guys have Pump It Up? You know what that is?
We had. Are you talking about trampoline parks?
No.
It was like a blow up.
Pump It Up was like a
thing.
blow up
Yeah.
park.
Oh no, we did not.
There was like
of the
there was
house
that
driving.
trampoline park. I forgot.
Sky
Sky High.
Sky
We had
High.
Sky Highs in
Oh,
LA.
yeah.
How was the shit,
Those were
dude?
fun.
Like I love jumping into like the foam pit. Doing,
Yeah.
like,
You see this
crazy
scar right
flips.
here?
Yeah. What's trampoline? Sky High.
I was at Sky High, and I jumped too close to the barrier, and I bit through my lip.
Hey, yo.
Did it
Yeah.
look sick at least?
No. Yeah.
It's tough.
It looked like a 12-year-old, like, gushing blood. But, yeah, it was like my homie's birthday party when I was a kid, and his dad was a nurse, and he stitched me there.
Whoa,
At
that's
Sky High. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was gnarly.
That's pretty
Yummy.
Oh, yeah. You guys mentioned that, I'm very curious about this. You guys mentioned that the direction of the new music you're going in is, like, more like Americana, like, folk influence stuff you were saying. Is it, how much is it leaning into that world? Like, are you guys kind of pursuing a whole different sound, or no? Did I misperceive that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I just I've been given too much autonomy to write music in the band without enough checks and balances, and so I'm kind of just every once in a while I'll bring some whack shit and they're like, no, this sucks. But they've been very gracious to allow me to kind of just do whatever. And I mentioned I was in Nashville for a couple of years, and I've always really liked your classic country and folk and blues. And so we definitely have some songs in the set increasingly that are
Ooh.
kind of bluesy, and yeah, and it's just a matter of I think, at the core we kind of want to be a easy listening, high energy kind of I don't know, punk indie rock oriented band, but there's definitely a lot of blues influences being mixed into there, some folk Americana shit.
That is so exciting. I'm so excited to hear that. That's like such like a, damn, I could see that working with your guys sound so well. That is so cool.
Yeah. And
Did you grow up on a lot of that music, or did you find it later in
I
life?
grew up on a lot of punk, a lot of reggae, and a lot of folk and blues. Those were kind of the big genres for me growing up. I was super into like singer-songwriter narrative stuff, like your kind of like more classic country, Woody Guthrie type beat sort of stuff. Like I love that sort of stuff. And I think a lot of, honestly, punk kind of takes a lot from, because folk and country are very counterculture, very anti-establishment genres. They're not so much today. I mean, they are. Actually, that's not true. They just, I think stadium country is kind of a different thing now. But yeah, so I think like that's kind of the vibe. I like the longing and the pain that exists within like folk and blues and stuff like that. I think that's very attractive.
Yeah.
From a songwriting standpoint. But yeah, as much rope as the fellow bandmates will give me, I'll want to do some country Americana stuff for sure.
Damn, that is so cool. I don't know like too much of that stuff in the city, I feel like, which is even cooler. You guys are like, because I feel like there's a lot of my favorite bands like blend those worlds a lot. Like I think Backseat Lovers do that a lot, and that's one of my favorite bands.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of bands like that I really, really love.
A lot of 1/4 chord changes.
Yeah,
for sure.
yeah, stuff like that. Yeah, and like string sections and like
Mhm.
yeah. I mean, like one of my favorite bands ever is Bright Eyes. Like
There you
arguably
go.
probably my favorite band ever.
Yeah.
And very much in like the
Punk folk,
yeah,
for sure.
I love the Front Bottoms. A lot of bands like that that like
sure.
teeter that line. So that's super cool. I feel like that's a sound that's growing a lot too, for sure. I feel like there's a
Yeah.
lot of that shit down in LA too. I feel like
Yeah.
I've heard a lot of that stuff.
Yeah. There's like also that intersection of like surf music and cowboy music.
Yeah.
That's like super sick.
Totally.
Definitely, I think like that's like definitely a direction sonically I would love to explore with the band. But Cam and we all have a buddy named Noah Stead who plays in probably a bunch of projects, but mainly in this super sick funk band called Liddy DeBungus. Shout them out. But he
Shout out.
also has been getting. He's a ripper on guitar, and he's getting sick at pedal steel, and so he's gonna play some pedal steel. We're gonna get in the studio next month, and he's gonna put some pedal steel on some tracks, and
That's
that'll
so
be sick.
exciting,
Yeah.
bro. I'm so pumped to hear that. Oh my
Yeah.
god, that's so cool. Last thing I'll ask you guys. If you had like one greater message that you think you could spread through your music and through the band and through all that, either collectively or individually, I don't know if you have one that is collective, but if not, you can go individually. What would that message be?
Huddle
Don't
up.
be silly. Rep your willy.
Whoa,
That's facts, that's facts.
actually, I don't know. I've been pretty.
Whoa.
I've been like pretty historic.
You're gonna go on the record. You're gonna go on the record
Yeah,
with
digital
that.
footprint.
Oh right.
So on the record, I've been really
Sure.
bad about wrapping my willy.
God damn.
The sexual education is very important. Actually, Planned Parenthood. Shout out Planned Parenthood. We love
Shout
Planned
out Planned
Parenthood.
Parenthood.
It's
Shout
the
out Planned
closest thing we
Parenthood.
have to socialized health in America, and it's fantastic. But
My guys.
yep. But I think this band started on not in a way that it's like we don't care, but I think in a way of just like authenticity. We try not to take ourselves too seriously.
Fuck yeah.
I think we just want to be, you know, like a beacon for authenticity. Just like we want people to come to our show and like not think about it too much and just enjoy it and have good memories from listening to our music. And I think we don't want to be anything that we're not, and we just want to be ourselves. I feel like Dogwater is just about authenticity. But
Fuck yeah.
Yeah. I think it's also like about just fun also, like
Yeah.
in whatever form that takes, like fun for people who come to the shows. Like I feel like there's a very performative element to Dogwater Live, which is great,
Totally.
and like that brings fun and novelty, but also like we always say, like if we're not having fun, like we don't need to
It's
be
pointless.
doing this.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
this
Yeah,
is
for
a
sure.
passion project. This is fun. This is like a creative outlet, and like I think that's clear when you listen to the music, like especially like because we're not really we don't really have a genre. It's like we can have fun in all these different areas, and like it's like challenging and like I don't know. So I think a lot of it is also like authenticity and like fun, just good vibes. Hopefully.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Sick.
Hell yeah.
Fuck yeah. Well, Dogwater. Thank you guys.
Woof,
you,
that-
yeah.
woof, woof.
Woof.
The woof, woof,
Arf.
woof.
Thumbs up.
Everyone give their best bark.
Ooh.
You gonna go to circle?
Start, yeah.
Alright.
yeah. Sorry, was that way too loud?
No, that's
Okay,
perfect.
Okay, cool.
Wasn't loud enough.
Oh god, now I'm freaked out.
I think we're all gonna portray different dogs.
Fuck me. This is tough. Yeah.
That's pretty good. Yeah, it's-
Okay.
it's-
Yeah.
Wait, that might have been the best one. Fuck.
That's it.
Mic drop on
That was a great conversation. Thanks for the barks. Talking about like the Bay Area music scene and shit, it reinvigorates my love for the game. It's like I love it, bro. It's very passionate. I'm very passionate about it. It's very like inspiring to me. But yeah, thanks for talking to me, guys. It was a
for
fun
having
one.
us,
Thank you,
man.
dude.
Always, yeah.
Cheers.
Always. Tell them where they can
Cheers.
find you. They can stream you. They can follow, listen. You got any shows coming up?
Cam's address is
yeah.
Well, we're Dogwater the Band on Instagram. We are on Spotify and Apple Music as well. If you want to email us, it's dogwater.mgmt@gmail.com. And we have like our shows in our Instagram bio. And we're also hopping in the studio this summer, so we're gonna record some stuff,
yeah.
which will be sick, and we'll release that.
New merch designs.
We got new merch designs coming.
Shout out Cam.
Shout out
Cam's
Cam.
a beautiful,
Shout out
wonderful
Cam.
artist.
Yeah, and then I think the last thing we'll plug too is that we got a new guitarist named Lawrence. He's
Oh,
a
sick.
chiller, and he's bringing some cool vibes to the band. So
Yeah.
a lot
Fuck
of
yeah.
changes over at Dogwater.
And
but like,
Xavier, who
yeah.
was the lead singer,
Yep.
lead person in the band prior, is on to really exciting new pastures, getting their PhD in synthetic biology.
Whoa.
So they will be kind of rewriting
sick.
humanity here in a couple decades. So that's
Yeah.
really
Shouts
fucking
out
nuts.
Zabe.
Shouts out
Zabe.
Zabe.
Shout out.
And yeah,
Just a
Hell
lot of
yeah.
cool shit coming up.
Beautiful.
basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm very excited to see where it goes, and I'm very excited you guys are still kicking it and doing the thing. So fuck yeah. Thanks for coming on, guys.
Thanks
yeah,
for
thank
having
you,
us.
Hell
dude.
yeah.
Thanks.
All right, music matters.
Music matters.